Hey everybody, so this is my friend Brendan Murphy.
What's up?
He's got a YouTube channel of his own. I will put in a link in the description below of this video. And we saw Spider-Man Far From Home recently, and we're here to talk about it. I'm sorry I couldn't get to the spoiler-free review. I saw the movie and then I went on a trip the next day, so I just didn't really have time. So I'm going to do something a little bit different here. We're just going to go right into the spoiler-filled review. So consider yourself warned. We will be talking full spoilers on Spider-Man Far From Home. You have been warned. Since I didn't do my initial review of it, just to let you know what I thought of the movie, I really liked it. I thought it was even better than Homecoming. I thought John Watts felt like he knew what he was doing more with this film as opposed to Homecoming. I feel like he learned a lot in between these two films. And I felt like it had more weight and more stakes. I loved Tom Holland's performance. I thought Zendaya as MJ was really well fleshed out in this movie. I really liked Jake Gyllenhaal. And overall, I just thought it was a solid movie, and it was a decent entry into the Marvel Universe. So, what did you think of it, Brendan?
I mean, I agree with most of what you said. I also think it's a better movie than Homecoming. I think it gets to be about Spider-Man in a way that Homecoming kind of wasn't. And like you said, with John Watts kind of getting more comfortable with the character. Not only is he like doing some more interesting stuff with the character, delving deeper into who Spider-Man is, what makes him tick, getting into that always central, with great power comes great responsibility theme that has to make, it has to be concrete in your Spider-Man movie or else it kind of falls apart.
Yeah.
But also you get to see him play more with Spider-Man. Like, there's a lot more creative, like, the way he swings in certain scenes. We get a lot more, like, interesting camera work than we did in Homecoming. Get to see him interact with a lot more like people within the universe, Nick Fury, all that stuff. So yeah, I think it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the heck out of it.
Yeah. And also something I noticed was like with Endgame being one movie before this, having that emotional backdrop of Tony Stark is gone and Peter having to like follow in his footsteps and everyone's looking at like who's going to be the new Iron Man. That added such a sense of like emotional weight to this movie that you didn't get with Homecoming.
So now Spider-Man has to answer that question. Is he the new Iron Man? Is he supposed to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? It's really interesting that he has this weight put on him that hasn't been before. And he's gone through a lot since Homecoming. He's been to space. He's fought aliens. Yeah. He got dusted, which, by the way, talking about how Endgame relates to this movie, I love how they open the movie and that they do address the fact that all of these kids got dusted.
Yeah. That was great.
I love how it does it comedically with like all the band kids just showing back up during a basketball game. I thought that was hysterical. But also I love the fact that the two kids on the school newscast, one of them is just like freaking out about the fact that like my younger brother is older than me now.
Yeah.
Like I love that there's that kind of just like still people are still kind of recovering from the events of Endgame. And the events of Endgame are felt in regards to the theme of Spider-Man having to take up the responsibility of Iron Man, stuff like that. So I thought it handled all of that stuff really well.
Yeah, and I love the very opening of the movie where like you can go back to the high school humor with all the low quality pictures and like the Getty images.
Getty image. I love the blurred out image of Vision.
Yeah,
I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah, all that stuff. That was like one of my favorite parts of Homecoming, so I'm glad they brought it back with this movie.
Of course.
Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio was something I was really excited to see with this movie. I think he's a fantastic actor, and the fact that he was joining the Marvel Universe was something I was really excited about. Because did you know he was initially going to be Spider-Man? Yeah.
Toby took it from him.
Exactly.
Good stuff.
And I liked him in this movie. I didn't love him. I think a lot of what they do is really cool, but once you get to that scene where it's kind of that exposition dump, where he's at the bar and he just kind of explains everything that he was leading up to that point. It worked for that character and it made sense for what he was trying to do, but it was still like a big exposition dump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See, I agree. I hated that exposition dump. I think it kind of stops the movie in its tracks. But I loved Mysterio. Yeah. I thought everything they did with him, the way they set him up, was perfect. And speaking to how great of an actor Jake Gyllenhaal is and the fact that we all know he's an incredible actor, I love the fact that for the first half of this movie, he is turning in a somewhat bad performance. Yeah. He's really good at acting badly. Like, because, I mean, Mysterio's whole MO is that he is a bad actor. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all fake. He's giving this like really stilted kind of like, you know, the people who like dislike Captain America or Superman because they're the Boy Scout. He's giving that exact performance.
Yeah.
With like lacking any of the heart or the conviction that those characters need to be pulled off, that like someone like Chris Evans or Christopher Reeve brought to Captain America or Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he finally does make the turn, he's having so much fun.
Yeah.
He's eating it up.
Uh-huh.
Plus, I just love the way that they handled Mysterio. I mean, the warehouse sequence
Oh, yeah. Oh,
is incredible.
yeah, all the illusions stuff,
Yeah.
especially that warehouse scene, though. It looked like it was right out of a comic book.
Yeah.
And just the visuals and
It was
the way it was
incredible.
all done. I love that.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where like I think Spider-Verse did it the best, where it's just literally lifting comic book imagery into a film.
Yeah.
And I don't think, like live action, I don't think I've seen anything done that well in that style of filmmaking.
Yeah.
I think just the way it hammered home some of the like themes of the movie, how it really hit Peter emotionally. I think that sequence was just so perfect. It looked great. It was really trippy and fantastic.
And also, like with the warehouse scene, that added such a sense of like unpredictability to the movie. Like you had no idea what was real and what was going to.
So many fake outs.
Yeah, and that was cool. And then since we talked about that scene, just the action in this film, I thought was overall way better.
Oh, absolutely.
Than Homecoming. I feel like it had more intensity. And although it's not quite as good as Sam Raimi's stuff in the first two Spider-Man films, yeah, it felt like, you know, the sequences were done a little bit better.
Yeah, I will say the one part of the action that I wish was a little bit better. I really was not a fan of the elementals as a whole.
Yeah.
Because we're all waiting for the drop where Mysterio reveals that he's the bad guy.
Uh-huh.
And just like, it really, especially if you're a comic book fan and you know that that's what's going to happen, you're just waiting for the drop and you're just like, these elementals, they're just kind of boring.
Yeah.
They're kind of uninteresting to really fight for the most part, especially because once again, you know it's smoke and mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that kind of drags the first hour as far as the action sequences and everything. I wish that was handled a little bit better.
Uh-huh.
But like, you know, I think it was just like one thing instead of like these 4 different enemies they have to face.
Yeah.
Like I would have liked to have seen like maybe that part beefed up a little bit.
Can we talk about something that I noticed was Mysterio, in some ways, is like a ripoff of Syndrome from The Incredibles.
A little bit.
How he just kind of like...
Almost pretty exactly.
Yeah, he makes this fake...
He's trying to be the hero.
Yeah, and he
He's
like tries to use the heroes to get what he wants, and then it all goes wrong and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And even his whole thing, like he's using science and everything to make sure.
Yeah.
And the whole, like he's lying to everybody and pretending that he's the hero. So yeah, it's really alike. But I think...
Nevertheless, I still think he was a good villain.
of course. Oh yeah, for sure.
So overall, I thought this movie did a really good job of balancing the superhero like action stuff with Peter's life, and you get to see like one of the things that I've always loved about Spider-Man is that he's always struggling between, you know, being Peter Parker and going to class and doing all that stuff, and then also being Spider-Man. And this movie gave that to you really well with his relationship with MJ and how he was trying to impress her and all that kind of stuff. And I just felt like their relationship was way more fleshed out, and I liked her so much more as a character.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that's one of the strong parts of the movie. Like, I think when this movie is really firing, that's what it's focusing on. Obviously, you have, like, the scene at the beginning where, like, the mob is, like, asking them, are you the next Iron Man? Are you guys going to, like, protect all of us and all of that?
Yeah.
And he just has that anxiety attack. Iron Man is legit everywhere because he's the savior of the universe.
Yeah.
He's on posters. He's on walls. He's everywhere. He's all that anybody can talk about.
Yeah.
And so he's got that there. I think him trying to win over MJ in this movie is handled really well. I like the fact that, like, you know, he has multiple opportunities to, like, try and make the move.
Yeah.
But because he's Spider-Man, he can't do it, so he's got to go. Like, the opera scene is probably the best example of it.
Yeah, that one was great.
Tony Stark gave him literally the keys to the castle. He's got the glasses, which are such a cool device.
Yeah, I really like
just
how
in
they
general.
were used.
Just always that reminder of Tony Stark being there. It's a literal, like object that completely puts in all of the weight of Tony Stark's loss and gives it to Peter, and literally, like, I love the fact that, like, he's so willing to give it up because he can't handle it.
Yeah.
At first.
Because
Like,
that's
I
all
think-
that responsibility.
Yeah.
How he wants to.
Which is always
blow it away.
the most interesting part of Spider-Man is like, will he be able to handle all of it? Will he be able to be the hero that he needs to be? Will he handle his responsibilities?
Yeah. Most of the movie I thought was really funny, and I was laughing pretty much the whole way through. But there were like a lot of jokes that didn't land, and specifically like, even though I love him, Ned and his relationship with Betty, like originally I was laughing my ass off and I thought it was super funny, and then they just kept bringing it back over and over and over again. I was like, this joke is still happening.
Yeah.
There's a few moments like that throughout this movie.
Yeah.
They just keep bringing stuff back, and I'm like,
I think that's the thing. Like, sometimes these movies will hang on to a bit for a little bit. Just, guys,
yeah.
this is done being funny.
That's the same thing with that it was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. There were like so many jokes in that movie that they just kept bringing back.
Yeah.
And that reminded me of this movie a little bit.
Yeah. I will say there are some that still work. I like Peter Tinkle. Peter Tinkle is
That
fun.
one was great. That was good. I love that.
And I think I really love the Flash Thompson thing that they're doing.
They changed him up a lot from when we saw him.
Literally, like, I think we all felt, at least my theater, like we heard a couple awes at the end when his mom didn't come to pick him up.
That was so good.
That's horrible. But like, I love the fact that he loves Spider-Man. I think that's so funny.
Yeah, that is.
That he is just a jerk to Peter.
Can we talk about the fact that whole train scene where he goes to the prison and stuff, and then he goes to that random location?
Yeah.
That like makes no sense. How he gets there and then he like goes into the flower field and stuff. Did you feel the same way?
I mean, not really. I mean, sure, if I look at it objectively, maybe not. But like, it was just that thing. I was like, okay, we got to get to the next part of the movie, and it's not that long.
It isn't that long, but
it's like 5 minutes. I liked the soccer hooligans joke. I thought that was fun. But like, I mean, he gets on the train.
Yeah. Well, I thought the comedy in that part of the movie was good enough to make me like look past it, but I just felt like they just tried to get him from one place to the next and just felt so like rushed.
I mean, we got to get to the happy plane scene.
That's true. Oh yeah, that scene is so good. The way he's like making the suit, and then the what's the joke? They're playing AC/DC.
Yeah.
He's like, I love Led Zeppelin.
That was such a good moment.
That was great. Loved it.
Well, even just like talking about theme again, like that's when we really hammer home the fact that like, no, Tony believed in you. That's why he gave you the glasses. And like the whole notion that like he needed to give it to somebody or he needed to give it up or that he wasn't ready. Like Tony knows that he's ready to take on the responsibility.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like Happy knows that, and like that conversation that I have is like really touching.
That's a really good moment.
Like I think that's really smart to have Happy kind of be the bridge between like Tony and Peter.
And then watching Happy watch Peter make the suit. That was just so good.
The little smirks he gives, like
yeah, it's like he
so
sees
sweet.
Tony Stark in him. That was just such a good continuation of that character. So going back to the action, the finale I thought was really fun.
Yeah,
I really loved that whole sequence. I thought it was really cool how you see Peter like flying through the drones, and then he goes inside the thing and he like takes them apart and stuff. And then when you finally get to that moment where he gets up to Mysterio and he's tricking him, and then he finally like grabs the gun and like Mysterio dies and he's on the ground. Or did he die? I thought it was.
Yeah,
he did. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's dead. It seems like it.
Yeah.
Like it seems like he's dead, and his like cronies like put out the video in the end credits scene. But like no, I mean I like the fact that he has to like confront the illusion again.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like obviously like till like he wasn't prepared before. Now he's ready. So like that's a nice little thing there.
But also something I felt this time around was that in that moment where he grabs the gun, doesn't he say like you can't trick me anymore or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah. So like that was like a Spider-Man moment, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like Homecoming he was like taking these little steps in becoming Spider-Man. This movie he felt like Spider-Man. And then once you get to that climax you really feel that by the end of this movie.
Well, it's about him like really taking up the reins of the responsibility, like we were talking earlier, like literally having to go get the glasses back and assume the role of like what he has to now be and everything. And I just think that it ties it together perfectly. Like everything on the bridge is great.
Totally. And then I also think I feel like Tom Holland is the best he's ever been in this movie.
Yeah, he just keeps.
He's just so good.
He keeps getting better.
I could literally watch Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland for a really long time.
He's going to. We're going to have 20 years of Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Yeah,
this kid does not want to stop playing Spider-Man. You can tell he's just having so much fun.
Exactly.
At all times.
And then I also thought one of the best moments in the film is when he's talking to MJ or after he gets rid of the drones and stuff, and he gives her the necklace and it's broken, and like she likes it better when it's broken, and then they kiss. Like that was just a really nice emotional payoff.
Yeah.
For the whole movie.
And of course, finally getting to see in this iteration, like him swinging around with MJ at the end.
Yeah,
was really nice.
and how she was screaming the whole time.
Yeah.
That was so that was different.
That's great.
Yeah, that was new.
Like the really like close up shot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of great new ideas and new
Yeah.
directions that we're going in with these new Spider-Man films, and
Yeah.
they're not playing off of the beats of the old ones. They're really reinventing the character and doing what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to talk about that mid-credit scene.
Oh my god.
What did you think of that one?
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Dude, obviously you have the fact that like we get more of the like MJ and Peter swinging. But
Yeah.
dude,
Mhm.
I don't know how your screaming was, but screams, yells of
Yeah.
just pure joy when J.K. Simmons
Oh,
as
my
J.
God.
Jonah Jameson
Yeah.
popped up on that screen.
I didn't have a lot of people in my theater, but everyone that was there pretty much lost their minds.
I yelled.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like I've been talking, like I'm such a huge fan of the Raimi Spider-Man
Yeah.
movies. Like those are some of my foundational, like some of the movies that made me love movies.
Yeah.
And just seeing him in this movie, seeing him be J. Jonah Jameson, because
Yeah.
they
He's
knew.
a little balder. This time
Little
around.
balder.
Yeah.
But like no one else can play
I
J.
know.
Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like they weren't. There's no way
No.
you can recast
Can't
J.
do
Jonah
it.
Jameson.
Yeah.
I mean, that is literally top 5 best casting decisions ever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the like minute of him riffing is perfect.
And he's more of like. It didn't seem like the Daily Bugle was like
No.
a newspaper anymore. It was like a conspiracy
He's
theory.
he's doing a little Alex
Alex.
Jonesy.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
which I'm really hoping in the next movie, which I think that was one of the best parts of the Spider-Man PS4 game, was like the little podcast
Yeah,
of J. Jonah
yeah.
Jameson.
That was
I
great.
hope we kind of get the same thing. I don't know if we'll see J. Jonah Jameson and Peter Parker interact
Yeah.
necessarily physically.
Well, I was going
in
to
the next
ask you,
couple
do you
movies.
think do you think they're bringing him back for the next one, or do you think this is just like cameo, like a
I
one-time
think-
thing?
I fucking hope not.
Yeah.
I really do. I will be upset if we do not bring back J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
And it's just that 1 minute. Because I think that'd be a nice thing to have J. Jonah Jameson just like sporadically kind of pop up in those news reports. I think that's kind of a perfect way to do him.
That is really good.
Like, obviously they can't interact yet because Peter's still in high school, unless he gets an internship at the Daily Bugle
Yeah.
or something like that.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But also, okay, with the fact that now everyone knows the secret identity
Mm-hmm.
with Mysterio leaking the video and stuff, that's going to have such huge implications
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
on the next movie. So I don't know. I have no idea how he's going to handle that or what his life is going to be, and you know.
What's interesting is I just don't know what that's going to look like. Like putting that into a 2-hour movie, because there's so much to explore there. Especially the fact that we have not seen that happen in a Spider-Man
Yeah.
movie up to this point. That everyone knows who Peter Parker is.
Well, the Marvel Universe has been really interesting about secret identities and stuff.
Yeah.
There's really not that many. There's just, you know, like Cap and Tony, they just,
Yeah,
they
'cause, like,
were
I mean,
those heroes.
Basically, Spider-Man is really the only one really kind of holding on to a secret identity.
Yeah.
Black Panther did for a little bit, but like,
And now he doesn't have that anymore.
No.
So
But,
it,
like-
it's, you know, I felt like it was only a matter of time before that would happen to him. And
Yeah,
then he would
it
join
has
the rest
to.
of the characters and stuff.
but it's that thing where like, I don't know. We do say that like obviously Iron Man and Captain America, like everyone knows who they are, but like I feel like Spider-Man is such a smaller character in the sense that like he's not this giant immortal being,
Yeah.
or like he doesn't have that suit of armor, or he's not a god or anything. Like he's still just a kid.
Yeah,
at the
he's
end
just
of
a
the
kid.
day.
He's like all the
So
rest of
I
us.
really do not know what that's going to look like. I'm just very interested to see how that looks. But yeah, I mean, I think the main job this movie had to do was like get us excited for the next phase of what the MCU is going
And
to
they
be.
certainly did that.
Yeah, and I think it did. I think it sets up a lot of interesting possibilities. I think it sets up a lot of interesting scenarios, especially with now the fact that like everyone knows who Spider-Man is.
Yeah. And it was also like, I feel like this was a nice epilogue for the Infinity Saga.
Yeah,
And then it also, you know, it gets us excited for what's to come.
yeah,
So that they did that really well.
absolutely.
So with the end credit scene, we see the fact that Nick Fury and Maria Hill were Skrulls the entire time, and Nick Fury is just chilling out on some ship in space in front of some like Hawaiian background that he's looking at, and then he gets up. What did you think of that?
I loved it. I
Yeah.
really did. Because here's
You
the
did?
thing. I'm not a huge fan of the Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, but I will say this. I love the Skrulls in it.
Yeah.
Whenever the Skrulls were on screen, whenever Ben Mendelsohn was doing his thing, I was 11 out of 10 happy with what was going on. So, like, and after Captain Marvel and it being set in the 90s, I wanted to know where those guys are and what they're kind of up to. What I like about that scene is that the fact that it tells us that the Skrulls we're still going strong. They're still, like, trying to find a home or, like, trying to build it, I guess, on whatever space station they're on. I like the fact that Nick Fury is just like, guys, the world almost ended and we saved it. I'm going to take a breather.
Yeah.
I'm going to just lay up in the space station for a little bit. I'm going to have a couple drinks. I'm going to put on some Hawaiian shirts. I'm going to chill.
Yeah.
Listen, nothing down there that's going on is that pressing. We'll get it done. Yeah. We know we've got people. We're good. Which, actually, I just thought of this now. I like the fact that literally Talos is like, don't you dare invoke her name.
Oh, yeah, earlier in the movie. Yeah, it makes you rethink, like, everything Nick Fury did.
I'm actually really interested to watch it again, knowing that they're Skrulls the whole time.
I feel like I didn't need this scene, just because, I mean, I just didn't know what to think of it, because it reworked the entire movie, and it makes you rethink, like, the fact that everything you see of Sam Jackson and Kobe Smulders is not them. It's the Skrulls. And then I also, I was really disappointed in Captain Marvel like you were, and just, the fact that this movie had to remind me of that movie as the last thing we see before I walk out of the theater, just like really? Yeah. That's how I felt.
See, I mean, the thing for me is that, like, Nick Fury and Maria Hill are in so little of this movie. I feel like, while it does change, like, a couple scenes here and there, but it doesn't really affect the overall movie.
Yeah.
In any real way that, like, deeply impacts it. Like, just like a fun little, like, oh, it's kind of funny that Nick Fury and Maria Hill are not Nick Fury and Maria Hill in this movie.
All right, so those are my thoughts on Spider-Man Far From Home. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was better than Homecoming. I thought it had more weight, more stakes. Tom Holland was great. I loved what they did with MJ. And overall, I just thought it was a really fun movie, and it was a great entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. What would you say, Brendan? I
mean, you said most of what I think. I do think this is a better movie than Homecoming. I think we're finally giving Spider-Man the weight that he needs in this universe. It's not just like a fun movie like Homecoming was, as much as I like it. Tom Holland is still great. Gyllenhaal is a really solid villain. Got a lot of fun action in here. It drags in certain places, and I wish some parts of the movie were a little beefed up. And, like, talking about the themes, I wish we would have gone into them more, because I think that when this movie is doing that stuff is when it's really popping. But overall, really enjoyable. I'm excited for the next Spider-Man movie. Please give me as much J.K. Simmons as you possibly can. I think this movie creates a lot of interesting possibilities and scenarios moving forward for Spider-Man and the MCU at large. So, really liked it. I think I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10.
Nice. All right, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Really do appreciate it. I want to thank my man Brendan Murphy for coming on to do this video with me.
Thanks for having me.
He's a huge Marvel nerd. Couldn't have thought of anyone better to talk about Spider-Man with me. Also, be sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.